very familiar face to all of you. Richard Burnett, the Chief Executive of the Road Haulage Association, has just come off the stage, and he has been talking about the ever controversial subject of clean air zones, ultra low emission zones. How are we going to clean up the air in our cities, and is the government treating the haulage industry unfairly? Richard, you seem to think that it is, and we've heard a lot about that, and the audience understandably has a lot of questions. So first off, someone has asked, is it worth hauliers contacting their own local authorities and talking and engaging in this conversation about clean air zones?
Okay, well, I mean, that might sound like a sensible thing to do, but I guess if you're a local haulier going to your local area and talking about what they're doing, then you've got another 32 zones that you're going to need to speak to, or 32, local authorities that you're going to need to speak to about the cities that are under that control. I think it's better to do it through the RHA or another trade association centrally that can provide a more focused approach to having conversations collectively, rather than spending sort of too much time concentrating on individual sort of councils. Yeah,
absolutely. And what about the viability of focusing things like driver CPC on fuel efficient driving? Is there scope to do more to actually get the drivers to drive in a more efficient way?
Well, look, from my perspective, operations that I've run historically, I've always done SAFED training. Safe and economical driving is key to any good operation. So to embed that as part of the CPC, that's not necessarily in the classroom, that's out on the road, to actually make sure that drivers are doing the best that they possibly can do for both the environment and safety, that seems like a pretty good idea to me.
Absolutely. And what about cars? I mean, there's a lot of onus and responsibility being put on the shoulders of the transport industry, who you could argue in some circumstances need the roads more than people driving to work, for example. Is there any scope to ban some cars from certain areas during certain times to allow LGVs through?
Well, I think again that's a solution that could be taken.
Yeah.
But there are 24 hours in a day, and we've talked about actually trying to move more deliveries onto nights, trying to ease that congestion during the day when there are more cars on the road. So that certainly could be part of the solution. But I'll just go back to what I said earlier in the presentation, which is isn't just about roads, and it's not just about cars, and it's not just about trucks. This is about non-transport related industries that are polluting, whether it's the manufacturing industry or whether or not it's power stations. There are bigger targets to go after, but governments seem to just want to go to where can they get there quickly, and who can they hit quickly. And that's part of the challenge that I think we face.
Okay. One question that we've had in from the audience is asking about the option of retrofitting a Euro 6 truck. They've mentioned that to do it for a Euro 6 bus, it costs in the region of £15,000, which is much cheaper than buying a new Euro 6 vehicle, heavy goods vehicle. They're suggesting that the RHA is just trying to scare people into buying new Euro 6 trucks. What's your response to that, Richard?
Well, I would say straight away, we're not scaremongering. We are not. We're just trying to give the facts in terms of what's available right now. There is not a retrofit that's available for any truck at this point in time. Those people that are working on potential retrofits are estimating that the costs are going to be around about £25,000 per truck. So we're just laying out the facts, and we're trying to bring some balance to this argument, but also get government to understand that it's not practical to lay some of these things out that are penalising an industry that keeps the economy of the UK moving. 98% of everything we consume is on a truck.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking about that, Richard, and obviously there's so much more to come on clean air zones, but that's been brilliant for now, and thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.